It was one of those nights where the city felt too loud and too alive for someone nursing a broken heart. The bar was buzzing with chatter, laughter, and clinking glasses, but all Ethan could hear was the echo of his own thoughts. He sat slouched on a stool, staring into his untouched drink. Across from him, at a small table tucked into the corner, sat his best friend, Claire. She was scrolling through her phone, rolling her eyes at something on the screen before tossing it down with a groan. "Okay," she said, leaning forward dramatically. "If I see one more picture of Mark and his new girlfriend on my feed, I'm going to throw this phone out the window." Ethan smirked faintly. "Please do. The city needs more flying objects." "Don't joke," she shot back, though a smile tugged at her lips. "He's been rubbing it in my face for weeks, and she's not even that cute." Ethan raised a brow. "She's pretty cute." Claire shot him a look. "Whose side are you on?" "Yours, obviously. I'm just saying objectively." "Don't objectively me right now, Ethan," she groaned, burying her face in her hands. Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. He knew that tone. He knew her heartbreak, too. Claire had dated Mark for nearly 2 years, only for him to break things off suddenly, claiming he needed space. 2 weeks later, he was flaunting a new girlfriend online. And Ethan? His breakup wasn't much prettier. Madison, his ex, had dumped him 3 months ago with the classic line, "You're a great guy, but I'm not in love with you anymore." Now she was dating some gym trainer with arms the size of Ethan's head. 2 broken hearts, 2 best friends, and a lot of pent-up frustration. "Okay, hear me out," Claire suddenly said, lifting her head with a spark in her eyes. "That's always dangerous," Ethan muttered. She ignored him. "What if we pretended to be dating?" Ethan blinked. "What?" "Think about it," she said, leaning closer, her voice dropping as though she was sharing the secret of the universe. "Mark sees us together. He freaks out, realizes what he lost. Madison sees you moving on with someone amazing, aka me, and she'll regret leaving you. It's perfect." Ethan laughed, almost choking on his drink. "You want us to fake date?" "Yes." "That's ridiculous." "Why?" "Because it's ridiculous," he said again, gesturing vaguely, as if that explained everything. Claire smirked. "You're scared." "I am not scared." "Then do it." Ethan stared at her. She stared back, her eyes daring him to say no. It was the same look she used when they were kids, and she convinced him to sneak into the abandoned movie theater, or when she dared him to sing karaoke after 2 beers too many. He sighed. "This is the dumbest idea you've ever had." "So you're in?" she asked, grinning. "Yes." Claire clapped her hands together in triumph. "This is going to be amazing." Ethan groaned. He already regretted it. The very next day, Claire put the plan into motion. Step 1, social media. She dragged Ethan to a cute little coffee shop downtown, one of those aesthetic places with fairy lights strung across the ceiling and latte art that looked too pretty to drink. She ordered 2 cappuccinos, pulled Ethan into the corner booth, and positioned her phone just right. "Smile like you actually like me," she ordered. "I do like you," Ethan said flatly. "Then stop looking like you're about to file a tax return." He sighed but leaned in, and she snapped a photo of them, their heads close, mugs in hand. The caption went up within seconds. "Sunday coffee with my favorite person, Red Heart, hot beverage, #lucky, #bless." Ethan's phone buzzed not long after. A notification. Then another. And another. Claire's grin widened as she scrolled. "Oh, this is gold. Mark has already viewed it. Twice." Ethan peeked at his own notifications. Sure enough, Madison had liked the picture. His stomach did a weird flip. Step 2, appearances. A week later, they attended a friend's birthday party. Claire hooked her arm through Ethan's, leaning into him with the ease of years of friendship, but the performance of a skilled actress. "Remember, act natural," she whispered. "You're the one digging your nails into my arm," he muttered back. "Sure, he's here." Ethan glanced up and spotted Mark across the room, glaring at them. Madison was there too, looking radiant in a red dress, her eyes flicking between Ethan and Claire with unreadable expression. Claire leaned closer, whispering in Ethan's ear, "Kiss me on the cheek." Now. What? Do it. Before he could overthink it, he pressed a quick kiss to her cheek. Her skin was warm, her perfume familiar, and the small smile that tugged at her lips didn't look entirely fake. Neither did the sudden, strange flutter in his chest. Later that night, after the party, they sat in Ethan's car, the city lights glowing outside. Claire was scrolling through her phone again, smirking at Mark's jealous reaction and Madison's cryptic comment on the post. Well, she said, Operation Make Them Jealous is officially working. Ethan forced a smile. Yeah, perfectly. But as he looked at her, really looked at her, he couldn't help but wonder, when had this pretend thing started to feel a little too real? Great Choice Raising Hands Chapter 2 is where things heat up. The fake relationship gets complicated, jealousy grows, and real emotions begin to blur the lines. By the following week, Ethan and Claire's little charade had become the talk of their social circle. What started as a single coffee shop post snowballed into a full-blown relationship, at least according to Instagram. Claire, ever the strategist, curated their feeds with candid photos. Ethan carrying her bag, Claire laughing at something he whispered, and one blurry shot of their hands brushing across a table. To the world, they looked smitten. To Ethan, it was starting to feel dangerous. It wasn't the act itself. He'd been close to Claire for years. Sleepovers during college, countless movie nights, surviving road trips with broken AC. But there was something different about this performance. Every time she looped her arm through his, every time her head rested casually against his shoulder, every time she called him babe, just loud enough for Madison or Mark to overhear, Ethan felt his chest tighten. It was supposed to be pretend. So why did it feel so real? The turning point came at a mutual friend's wedding. Claire showed up in a navy blue dress that made the room stop for a second. Ethan almost didn't recognize her at first. Not because she looked different, but because he was suddenly seeing her in a way he never had before. "You're staring," she whispered as they took their seats. "Just making sure your dress doesn't outshine the bride," he replied, trying to play it cool. She smirked, smooth. As the evening went on, the line between acting and reality blurred further. They danced. At first for show, so Mark and Madison, who were both in attendance, could see. But soon, Ethan stopped noticing anyone else in the room. Claire's hand fit perfectly in his. Her laughter bubbled up against his chest as he spun her clumsily. And when the slow song came, she didn't pull away. She leaned into him, her cheek brushing his shoulder. And for a moment, Ethan forgot they were supposed to be faking. He held her closer than necessary. She didn't seem to mind. After the reception, they sat outside on the steps of the venue, the cool night air wrapping around them. Claire kicked off her heels, groaning in relief. "My feet hate me," she said. "They look good, though," Ethan teased. She laughed, nudging him with her bare foot. "Since when do you notice shoes?" "Since I became your fake boyfriend." Comes with a job description. Her laughter faded into a softer smile. For a long moment, they just sat there in silence, the night humming around them. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, and Ethan caught a glimpse of Mark's name. What did he say? Ethan asked quietly. She hesitated before showing him the message. "You and Ethan, huh? Didn't think you'd move on so fast. Guess I wasn't enough for you." Claire's jaw tightened. What a hypocrite. Ethan's gut twisted, but not with anger, with something else. Protective, jealous, even. He hated the idea of Mark still having that kind of power over her. Without thinking, he took her phone, typed out a reply, and hit send. "You're right. You weren't enough." Claire's eyes widened. "Ethan, what? It's true." She stared at him for a long moment, then laughed, shaking her head. "You're insane." But when she leaned her head on his shoulder afterward, Ethan knew she wasn't upset. If anything, she seemed lighter. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Mark kept trying to provoke jealousy with cryptic posts. Madison started commenting little fire emojis under Ethan's photos with Claire. Friends were whispering about how unexpected but cute they were together. Through it all, Ethan and Claire played their parts flawlessly. Dinners, movie nights, spontaneous selfies. It was a show, but one they were getting frighteningly good at. The problem? Every time Ethan looked at her, he forgot they were acting. And sometimes, when her gaze lingered a little too long, or her smile softened when she thought he wasn't looking, he wondered if she was forgetting too. One night, after a double date set up to really hammer the point home to their exes, Ethan walked Claire to her door. She fumbled with her keys, laughing softly. "Thanks for tonight. You were perfect." "So were you." Their eyes met. And for the first time in years, there was a tension between them that wasn't playful or easy. It was charged, heavy, electric. Claire's smile faded, replaced by something more uncertain. "You know this is all just pretend, right?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan swallowed hard. "Yeah, of course." But as she leaned in, kissing his cheek lightly before disappearing inside, Ethan knew one thing for certain. He was lying. The following days were torture. Ethan couldn't shake the memory of Claire's voice that night. "You know, this is all just pretend, right?" She had said with a smile, but her eyes had betrayed something else. Fear, maybe, or doubt. And yet, every time they were together, the boundary between pretend and reality blurred further. When she leaned into him during movie night, head resting against his chest as if it were the most natural thing in the world. When her hand lingered in his a beat too long after taking another stage candid photo. When she laughed at his stupid jokes like she hadn't heard them 1,000 times before. It was supposed to be an act. So why did it feel like the most honest thing Ethan had ever known? The breaking point came at a mutual friend's rooftop party. Claire arrived late, her hair tousled by the evening breeze, a bottle of wine in hand. Ethan's breath caught the second he saw her, the kind of reaction he couldn't disguise anymore. As the night went on, Mark and Madison circled closer, clearly intrigued by how in love the two of them seemed. Ethan played his role, but tonight it felt different. He didn't want to play anymore. When Madison pulled him aside, her hand brushing against his arm, she whispered, "You know, you don't have to pretend with her. We both know who you really wanted." Ethan stared at her, realization crashing down. Madison still thought she had some kind of hold on him, but she was wrong. He glanced across the rooftop, where Claire was laughing with friends, her eyes flicking to him every few seconds like she couldn't help herself. For the first time, he understood it wasn't about revenge anymore. It wasn't about their exes. It was about her. Later, when the party began to thin out, Ethan found Claire on the edge of the rooftop, city lights sprawling out behind her. She looked small against the skyline, her arms wrapped loosely around herself. "You okay?" he asked softly. She nodded, but her eyes were distant. "Mark cornered me earlier, asked if I was just trying to make him jealous." "And what did you say?" "I told him no, that I was happy." She paused, her voice breaking. "And the scary part is, I wasn't lying." Ethan's heart pounded. He stepped closer, searching her face. "Claire." She shook her head, forcing a laugh. "This wasn't supposed to happen. We had a deal. Fake dates. Fake smiles, fake everything. That's all it was supposed to be." "Is that really all it is to you?" he asked, his voice raw. Her eyes flicked to his, shimmering with unspoken emotion. "I don't know anymore." For a long, breathless moment, they stood there, the world shrinking down to the space between them. Then Ethan closed it. His lips met hers, tentative at first, as if asking a question. Claire froze for a heartbeat, and then melted into him, her hands curling into his shirt, her kiss answering every doubt he carried. The city roared around them, but all Ethan could hear was the sound of her breathing, the pounding of his own heart, the quiet truth in the way she held him like she'd been waiting for this all along. When they finally pulled apart, Claire's eyes were wide, her cheeks flushed. "That didn't feel fake," she whispered. "Because it wasn't," Ethan said. She laughed softly, tears brimming in her eyes. "So what happens now?" Ethan smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Now, we stop pretending." Weeks later, the world still buzzed about their unexpected relationship. Mark and Madison faded into irrelevance, their games powerless now. But Ethan and Claire didn't care about the whispers or the posts anymore. They were done playing roles. They were done faking. And as Ethan watched Claire laugh across the breakfast table one morning, hair messy, eyes bright. He realized the truth. The best things in life don't come from pretending. They come when you finally let yourself be real.